Hello again, and welcome to Lesson 27's Writing Words 3, Part 2, where we will be looking into words that have the same sound as the ow we can hear in cow. And we write it O-W. It is a spelling that you will discover is not always used at the end of words. But the OU spelling that we covered in part 1 is never used at the end. So that is something helpful to remember. Our first word is bow. Ow. So how will we spell it? B is B, ow, O-W. This first set of words does have ow at the end. And by bow, this is what we mean. And it is something that is important to cultures around the world. Let's think of another word that rhymes with bow. Cow. K. Ow. And we know to write a C because K is followed by an O. And here we have a cow who says, "How now?" There's our speech bubble. How, ha, ow. And now, ow. And this is all going to be part of a little sentence that tells a story. We bow to the cow who said, "How now?" after our row. So let's write the word row. Ow. And here we can see that somebody is not at all happy. And neither is the person they were arguing with. The cow, I don't doubt, didn't actually say anything, but the expression on its face will have been a "How now? What's going on here?" type expression. Let's write the word argument because the sounds all tell you exactly which letter to write. R, A-R, Gu, G-U, ment, M-E-N-T, argument. And I'm sure that the cow, looking at them so inquisitively, will probably have made them smile, and the argument would be over. Let's go over that wee sentence again to link the words together. We bowed to the cow who said, "How now?" after our row. And this might seem a very odd thing to include. You'll find out why any minute. But first, let's have a look at the word shoe. which has a really odd spelling when you think. We can hear sh and we can hear ooh. And if we look at the letters, sh makes sense. But ooh, I've never spelt it like that. So what strategy can we use? Well, show E. And how do we remember the E? Because our shoes for our feet are equal. They are exactly the same. Show E. And if we have lots of shoes, we add suffix S. But the muddle of those shoes, which is something I come across regularly in our house, could lead to a sentence. But we have two words that look exactly the same. One is row and the other is row, because OW can be used for two different sounds. So how do we decide what to say when we're reading? Well, that comes from the meaning of the sentence. We'll get a row or row if we don't put our shoes in a row or row. I'm sure you've worked it out. We'll get a row if we don't put our shoes in a row. So the meaning of a sentence you are reading, and we tend to call that the context, lets you know exactly which word to say. Let's carry on with more ow words. And we are going to start with a word that has row in it. Brow. Ow. B is B, is R, ow, O, W. And this brow is talking about our eyebrows, which can be raised to show all sorts of different emotions. This one says something along the lines of, "What do you think you're doing?" Let's find out what's next. Well, we are going to add another speech sound right at the end. Any idea what it might be? Brow. Brown. And I've written the word in brown ink. Brown. So here we can see that we do get OW with a different consonant after it. And we'll be looking at a few different ones as the lesson progresses. What else can we write with own at the end, which can also be said as own, This is my own pen, if that's what you're thinking. But what do we use? The context of a sentence to know what to say. Our next word is clown. K is C, U is L, ow, O-W, N is N. So another own word. But first, let's say hello to the clown. This time, own. And here we have a crown. Let's go over our words. Brow, brown. Clown, crown. I can think of another word. If I do an arrow pointing this way, what do you think it's going to be? That's right, down. 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 And I think the next word needs to be town. Ow. Town. Now, our schools are in a city. A town is a bit smaller. Let's write Dumbarton, because that is a town you might go past on your way to the mouth of the River Clyde. And you can hear the sound you need, so let's write it together. Name of a town though? Yup, we need a capital D. Dum. There's our capital. And then A is U, M is M. Bar, B, A, R, and ton. Saying ton helps us to remember the spelling for the ending of Dumbarton. Our next word is allow. Allow. First thing we can hear in the first syllable is ah. Then we can hear ow. Lets us know we will need the letter L, but we actually need two of them. So it's a bit like allow as a spelling language. A is A, ul is L, and I write two of them. Ow is O-W. Allow. When you let somebody do something, I'll allow you to help me with my spelling. How about that? We're going to move on to a word which has the same letters as the last three letters in allow, but they're in a different order. Ow, ul. Owl. Ow, O-W, and l at the end. Owl. And there's our picture of an owl looking a little bit nervous. Maybe because of the next word, which ends in owl. Growl. Owl. Let's write it. G is G, is R, ow, O-W, is L. And here we have somebody growling. Oh, golly gosh. No wonder the owl looks a little bit wary. Now, normally, when a dog growls like that, there's something that's worrying them. As it gets a little bit older, it will be told that growling isn't allowed, unless it's something really scary. So I think we will write aloud, seeing as we have allow. Now we can hear d at the end. That usually means we need suffix ed because we are adding a suffix to allow. Ah. Ooh, and then another one, ow, d, but it's written ed, allowed. Another word that sounds similar to owl, but we write it as 2 syllables, is vowel. Vowel tends to be the way we say it. Ow, but it is actually at the end. And the is a short vowel sound. Is V, ow, O-W, and then L, vowel, L. But you're right, we do tend to say vowel, just like the word towel. It's spelt in a very similar way, apart from that very first sound. T, ow, L, towel, helps us to remember which letters to use, even though we tend to say towel. Let's move on to a different sound at the end of ow. Our first word is crowd. Ow, d. Cr, C-R. Ow, O-W, and then d is D. Crowd. But I'm going to move it over because we are now going to be thinking about a word that doesn't need 2 consonants at the beginning, but it will need different letters at the end. And our word is powder. So, we'll get rid of this one because we don't have a consonant blend at the beginning. Pow is the first syllable. Then we can hear der. We'll move the d along a bit to put it in the second syllable. Then that sound is Pow, P-O-W, and we had the D, and then in der at the end, powder. But we're going to make a few changes for another word, so let's move powder over to crowd, and this time the D won't be in the word. Pow, and then what will the word be? Power. P is P. Ow, O-W, and power. Now let's write tower. And I think we'll put it underneath because the only thing that's different is the letter we need for the first sound. T is T. Ow, power and tower. And the next one, it rhymes as well, but the sound at the beginning is sh. Shower. So although it's one sound, we'll need two letters for sh. Sh is S-H. Ow, O-W, and at the end, E-R. 3 sets of 2 letters, sh, ow, And our very last word is flower. Isn't that a pretty one? So let's have a go at listening to the sounds and picking the letters we need. Full. My teeth are at the back of my bottom lip to start. Full is F-L. Ow, O-W, and E-R. Flower. And that lovely flower brings our lesson to a close. It's a bit of a thank you for working so hard, and well done.